No? I'm live. All right, guys. Let's see. I believe I'm live. I'm checking it out. I guess it's got a little bit of a delay there, but just hang with me a few minutes while I get this all set up. It's a little bit of like extra work I got to do here. Got that done. And I'm going to be putting the password and the ID in the description in case you already, have a Zoom account or whatever. Oh, actually, it's already there. Weird. It's already saved from last time. Why isn't it live, though? That is strange. Oh, maybe I need to go to a different page. All right. Let's go back this way and see if I can figure it out. Your channel. And all right, that's it. Now I'm live. All right. Hello everybody. Maria Steen, CZ Tober, Karen Doyle. Hello to you guys and welcome. Let me set up my wife's computer real quick because she is going to be in the chat this evening. All right, so I think we're pretty much set up. I'll probably remember if I'm not. I'll probably remember something. Diana Spy, hello. Atazan Mora, hi. FG, hi. Janet Johnson, hello. Cameron Pickford, hi. Mr. Pickle Pants, hello. Boopster, hello. Seventh Samurai 72, hello. All right, hello everybody. I recorded a real interesting podcast today. I will tell you guys more about that later once everybody gets here. And I guess let's go ahead and get started. Let's see who our first person was Kate. So let's admit Kate to the room. See what she's up to. All right, and I can kind of adjust my. Good. My microphone was on top of my mouse cord. I was a little bit worried that my mouse was not gonna work. All right, so let's ask her to start video. By the way, my wife is on the chat too. It's not me. And my wife, and this is a secret for you guys, only my close friends know that Mara is not my last name. It's my wife's name. And Mara is going to be on the chat. So if you see chatting coming from the channel, that's her doing it. All right, Kate is there. I just don't hear her yet. It's connecting. It's on her way. It looks like Kate has some nice brick in her house or apartment. See that right there? Looks nice. Kate, looks like your mic's still not on. I don't know if you can hear me. Yvette Moore, good morning from Australia. Good morning there in Australia. Hope it's not too cold there today because it is winter time for you guys. All right, everybody's saying hi to Mara today. She's almost here. It's too bad that this, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just too bad that this doesn't immediately connect like the radio. That would be perfect. But we have to wait on the internet and all that kind of stuff. So it takes a while to connect sometimes. Good night from Holland, from Mandy. So that means you're leaving already? We just started. A bit chilly, okay. Barav Nairi. Robin Lynn, hi. Sue Zen from Long Beach. Hey, Long Beach. Mara is from Glendale. So I know if you're from Long Beach, you know where Glendale is and the Glendale Galleria. All right, so let's see. Kate, do you need any help? Oh, she's gone. Sometimes you've just got to troubleshoot these things. And even me, sometimes when I have a guest, this is almost kind of a background thing that when I meet with guests for the first time, almost every time, I don't know about every time, but let's say 80% of the time, when I have a guest on for the first time, we've got to figure out Zoom, and finally we get it sorted out. So this is kind of like a little bit of a insight to my world when I'm actually recording something, because we go through exactly what you're seeing here. Glenn Samuel, good morning in the UK. Thanks for watching us there. If you guys have any questions for me, I will try to answer them if I can, or if I think they're appropriate, while we're waiting for Kate to come in. Let's see. And I don't know if you heard, there was one person that commented on the videos while I was one of the recent videos. I don't know if you guys heard it in my voice. The last couple of podcasts, I've kind of struggled with some sinus stuff going on, and I was kind of mucusy, and I could hear it a little bit in my voice. And one person picked it out. Maybe you other guys heard it too, but you just didn't say anything. Van C's, good evening. Thank you for being a fan. Let's see. Kate seems... I don't know what happened to Kate. It looks like she put her camera on hold or second. Anyways, I'm still on the tail end of this coughing and a little bit of this mucus in my head. So just bear with me and pardon me if I kind of cough in the mic. How did you get into this topic for a podcast? Well, I was inspired by Coast to Coast AM, and I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that is a radio show that's nationwide. It depends on where you are and what time zone you're in, and that is on, in my time, Central Time, from midnight to 4 a.m., and it's all these paranormal topics. Did you ask me about... And it's specifically near-death experiences. I was interested, and I luckily got my first guest, which was Kirsty Salisbury, and that was over a year ago. And, oh, she's gone. I lost Kate. I'll try to catch back with that on the next guest. Joining, Sean. Is he here? Uh-oh. Kate is still here too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put Kate back in the waiting room. Maybe while she's figuring it out, we'll go back to Kate while we're waiting on Sean. It shows that his microphone is on or something. There's Sean. We see him. He's halfway. Nice, yeah. He's there. All right. You just spawned into the live stream. You're a little bit dark over there, Sean.
Yeah, I've got a TV between me and my window. Is this okay? I can turn on the light.
That's okay. You're good. You're good. So where are you from?
I'm in eastern Colorado.
Eastern Colorado.
Just east of Colorado Springs in the High Plains.
Nice. So what's going on?
It's quite lovely here.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's quite lovely here.
I bet. It's probably a lot better than here because it's still close to 100 every day.
Yeah, it cools off really nicely here in Colorado. We got up to probably about 90, but it's
Are you far from the mountains?
No, the mountains are just about an hour from here, west of me.
West of you.
Yeah, yeah, and I've lived in the mountains and in the Denver area and in Colorado Springs, and now I've settled on the High Plains.
Nice.
Yeah,
Are you?
I,
I think there's a town in there called Pueblo. Are you close
yeah,
to Pueblo?
yeah. I'm about 45 minutes north of Pueblo.
45 minutes. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right. So,
yeah.
what's going on in your life paranormally or spiritually, or what do you want to talk about?
Well, I thought that what I would do is share some of the out of body experiences I had through my life, just depending on how much time we have. But one of the earliest ones I had was when I lived in Victorville, California.
Uh
We
huh.
had a swimming pool, and I I had a dream, which I thought was a dream at the time, where I was at the top of the slide next to my pool, and I just started floating up from that point, and I could see the roof of my house, and I could see like a piece of wood that was on the house, and I could see the trees. And then that was sort of the end of the dream. I mean, I didn't wake up for some hours later, but months later, my dad and I were on the roof doing some work, and I realized like everything that was on the roof is what I had seen when I had that dream. And so even at that young age, I realized like something had happened where I was able to be above my house and see things. Um, and it really intrigued me, even at that young age, but I didn't really understand it. Of course, I didn't talk to anybody about it until years later. But I've always had a sense in me that there's more to us than we know. And even though I was brought up through a Christian church, there was just, I had a lot of questions that would really trouble me, even at a very young age. Like, if God made us, like, who made God? You know, and it was such a terrifying thought to me back then. But that kind of led me to kind of think outside the box. And of course, those of us who start to think outside the box, we realize people are brought to us and information is brought to us that gives us answers about that. And so my beliefs have really expanded, and my awareness has expanded to realize that there is a divine spark in us. We are co-creators on this planet. That there is value in religious teachings, but there's much more to the story than just those types of things. So I knew like the out of body experience was some sort of psychic aspect that we have. And of course, there's the other things that happen, like I'll be thinking of my sister, and then my sister will call me, those types of things, or a knowingness about um, something that's going to happen and it will happen, or having dreams about things that will happen.
Let me stop you there. Did you have something in your life that caused all this to start happening?
I The way that I look at it now is that some of us came with just slightly more awareness and less willingness to accept the status quo because, from my beliefs, we were heading into a significant period of either human transformation or human calamity. So, from a very early age, I really questioned things. We went to a church, Assembly of God, and people would speak in tongues, and there was just a lot of things that actually kind of terrified me about the church and just made me look at sort of other information. And of course, I found it like my aunt was very much into Edgar Casey teachings and had some reincarnation thoughts and so forth. So at a very young age, I would say it was just a knowingness in me that there's more to the story. And I began a journey of seeking truth. And of course, truth is such an individuated thing, but that's that's really where it began. Is very young, kind of being terrified of the teachings and the things that I was being exposed to, and eventually finding people who made more sense of the information I was being given.
So, where are you at now religiously?
So the way I like to phrase it is I take what I can use and I leave the rest. And I see all of us as a spiritual family, and that there's value in religion and in faith. But for the most part, there's just information and teachings that I can garner from it that help me on a daily basis to be the best presence I can be on this planet while still figuring out the puzzle. Because from my perspective, it's such a complex system, a difficult time wrapping our head around what truth is. And of course, I think for all of us, there's just phases of truth. We will come into a truth, and that truth leads us to the next level of a truth, and so on and so forth. So I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe that there is another dimension to us. I believe that we, as the human species, have avoided Armageddon, are now heading towards spiritual enlightenment and a marvelous time in human evolvement, and that we're going to have a lot more revelations, but that in general, even though it looks like a very scary time, we're being given the opportunity to have much greater awareness, and therefore we can deal with the reality of that awareness and go from there and hopefully become just a wonderful society of compassionate and loving people.
Well, I love your positivity, and I hope that you are right, my friend.
Thank
I
you.
hope we're going into the fourth dimension, like some people say.
I absolutely believe it. In our lifetimes, if you just go back 20 years ago and you think about how intolerant our societies were and how closed-minded our societies were, that in just 20 years, I can see a significant change. But the kids coming in today, like the kids really are beyond their years, and there is something within them where they definitely have a knowingness. So I do feel very positive about it, and it's not just a flippant wish. I really actually feel like I'm seeing physical manifestations of us evolving as spiritual beings in human form.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're right. There are a lot of kids out there that I see, especially like on social media, that are, excuse me, amazing musicians. All these young children that are just like super, super talented. It's incredible. All right, bud, I've got to move on to the next one so I can keep this thing rolling. But thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you, and you take care of yourself.
You do the same. I appreciate your time.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, if you see me sitting like this, and it's not the guest's fault, sometimes I just can't hear very well, so I'm kind of doing this. That's what I'm up to when I'm doing that. Some people's mics will be loud, some people's won't be that loud. So with that, let's go back to Kate and see if we can get Kate to join us this time. Whoa, Yvette Moore. Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Joining. So hopefully she will make it this time. Glendale born and raised. I think I saw that. Karen, are you in Glendale, California? If so, that's pretty cool because we go to Glendale every couple years or so. Only 27 likes and 100 people in the chat. All right, hopefully we'll beat last week because last week was the best so far, and I maxed at 200 and, well, I'm not sure exactly, but I know I glanced over at one time it was 283 people, so that was really cool. I hope to get it to at least 300 today. All right, Kate is, I guess, just really having some problems today. Hopefully she'll be able to make it. If not, then I think the next one in line is Rhonda. Someone asked me, I think in the chat earlier, about if I still practice. Oh, Allison, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Someone asked me earlier if I still practice chiropractic. I keep my license current, and I don't really do too much anymore. I haven't really done much in about 5 years, but recently I covered someone's office for them for about 2 weeks. And I get offers, but I really don't want to do it unless, for some reason I need to. I prefer to be here with you guys making videos for you guys. I don't think Kate's making it again, so I hopefully she'll be able to get it working. Let's go to Rhonda because I think she was next, and I think Rhonda's been with us before, unless it's a different Rhonda. A shout out to Chunder Phonics. Oh, that's awesome! It's great that he kicked his addiction. That's awesome. Hello, Rhonda.
Hi, let me shut something down here.
How are you today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So what's going on with you tonight? What do you got to tell us? What do you got to share with us?
Sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
All right. So, what is going on in your paranormal world, Rhonda?
Well, I had someone said something about they were curious about me almost getting run over by Hunter Thompson years ago.
Who's Hunter Thompson?
He's a writer.
Oh, okay. And
I'm not very familiar with him, but I was at the Woody Creek Bar years ago having a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
Went out and my sound isn't right.
I hear you just fine.
Okay. Okay. I was standing outside and a big Cadillac come whipping up in the parking lot. I jumped out of the way. My friend said, "Oh, do you know who that was?"
Mm-hmm.
That was Hunter Thompson. And I was just like, so I guess it's kind of almost a near-death experience because I didn't get run over.
Well, it would be interesting as if he's a near-death author.
I think he interviewed the Hell's Angels.
Really? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who he is. By the way, what does the symbol on your hat mean?
It's the Aspen Airport hat.
So you live in Aspen then?
Not right now. I'm in Montana.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to see you on my Zoom, and I can't see you.
That's okay. You can just imagine me. You've seen it in the videos. You know what I look like.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping my sound is right and not too much glare. But
you're perfect.
I had a couple interesting things when I told about my going in the light. I have a lot of strange things happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anyone's really anything in particular, just so many coincidental things keep happening. And besides, I almost got run over by Hunter Thompson. Someone on the chat asked about that. I was in Boulder, Colorado years ago and walked right up on Robert Plant.
Wow.
I was standing next to him, his bodyguard, my friend, and I was trying to be cool so I didn't even look at him. And it was just a very coincidental, exciting thing.
So now you got a stairway to heaven. What does that mean? Hunter Thompson, Stairway to Heaven, NDEs.
It goes on. I could tell tons of stories. I might have to come back and talk again if I think of a good one.
I definitely think that you are going to heaven from all those synchronicities. So you should not have to worry about anything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And your show is great. One thing I have to wonder, I've been wondering about Steven that you had on a couple weeks back and hoping he's okay wherever he's at because I haven't seen him back on.
Steven, was he on the live stream?
Yes.
Wow, I don't remember, Steven. I don't remember. All right, Rhonda, I'm going to run to the next person, but I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello, and I hope I see you again next week.
Okay, well, thanks for having me.
All right, you take care.
You're doing great.
Bye-bye. Don't report. I wish I didn't have to keep doing that don't report thing. That's kind of annoying, right? All right, so I'm losing people. I had more people here, and then they disappeared. I don't know if they got tired of waiting, but they'll probably be back. Tristan Early, thank you so much. And C.A. Luton, thank you so much. I really appreciate that from you guys. More. Asked to start video. I messed that up. Janet. Oh, I don't think you have your voice on yet. You're connecting still. See, what would be interesting is if he's a near-death author. All right, Janet.
Oh, I'm behind on the on the other audio, so
right,
I was
right.
prepared.
Yeah, that's
All of a sudden
okay.
said, "Oh, I want to join." I'm Shay. Oh,
yeah. Zoom is in real time, and YouTube is probably a 30-second time delay because it's got to kind of go from Zoom around the world into YouTube, and then it gets there. So, where are you from?
Yeah. I'm from Oregon originally, Eastern Oregon, but I have been living in Utah for the last 9 years.
All right.
So I don't like to say I'm from Utah, but
okay. Are you in the Salt Lake City area?
I am. I'm just south of Salt Lake.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what is going on with you supernaturally, paranormally, spiritually? What would you like to share?
Okay. So a couple of things. And well, the first one is this paranormal, not a paranormal, UFO thing that happened. I was trying to remember when this was. I think it was in 1980 or 81. So this is when we lived in Eastern Oregon in Hermiston. Yay. Mm-hmm. And my dad and I and my sister and brother-in-law went fishing, and we decided we'd go fishing in Halfway, Oregon. So it's kind of up in the mountains out of a little tiny place. And we fished in the afternoon and the evening, and then we decided we would fish at night and do catfish. So we had the little bells on the pole and all of that. And we were laying on the beach, just kind of not really beach. It was kind of riprap stuff, big rocks and stuff. We were just laying back. We were just looking at the sky, and there weren't a lot of lights around. So it was really amazing. And all of a sudden, I mean, this was way up there. So it wasn't close. It was like way up there in satellite range. Mm-hmm. We see these two, and I'm going to do it the way it was. They came like this together, and we thought, oh, there's a satellite. Well, look, there's another satellite. Oh, it looks like they're going to hit. They stopped and then went, zip.
Wow.
And so we, did you just see what I saw? And my sister said, no, and I'll never admit to it. So that was one of those things that not satellite, not airplanes, way up there. And they came, it was almost like watching Star Trek, where you have the two things and they're near each other, and then they turn and and it was just like that, but way up there.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, so that's the first thing that I wanted to tell you.
Well, let me ask you this. How did you feel after you witnessed that? Were you like, what was going through your mind? Were you like, wow, I finally confirmed it, that spaceships are real, or what?
It's one of those things where you're forever altered in that you can't deny what you saw, and it's cognitive dissonance. So it doesn't match with your current paradigm. It doesn't do this, it goes like this. And so you kind of have a cognitive dissonance about it, so that you don't know what to do with it. So you kind of tuck it away and you don't really look at it, and that kind of a thing. And that's where I am in with the whole UFO extraterrestrial, and I've watched quite a bit. I mean, I've listened to everything of Dolores Cannon. I've done listened to all of Michael Newton's stuff about past life, between life stuff, and I just recently had a between kind of things that have started to happen. I mean, you hear a voice and it tells you, you know, when I was trying to choose a house where to live between one house in this neighborhood and another house in a neighborhood. This is after I was just recently divorced. I had 3 young children, and I'd moved back to Hermiston from Idaho, where I had been living. And we decided to pray about it and to do all of that. And we fasted and prayed and did all of that kind of stuff. I used to be Mormon. I'm not a Mormon anymore, but anyway. And so that was what we did. And we had broken our fast, which means that we had we had fasted for 24 hours, my children and I. Which house should I get? I feel like there was a real issue with it. And I was just sitting here thinking about it. And all of a sudden I was thinking, okay, I'm going to get the blue house. That's the house I want. I liked it, worked better. And I heard all of a sudden behind me to the left, I mean, I can almost still feel it, the word pedophile.
Wow.
And I was with the wall was behind me. Okay. So I'm leaning against the wall in the bed. There's the window, but it was closed. I heard pedophile and I turned. And I said, oh, isn't that interesting? Okay. So I guess I'll choose the White House up around the corner. And then I kind of got a sense of peace about it. Chose that. Later we were talking about it. I told my mom stuff about it. We looked up on the internet, and sure enough, right across the street, there was a registered pedophile. Right. So, I mean, it was just that kind of stuff was happening. So, but I've had a lot of those kind of things happening where I'm clairaudient. I hear different kinds of things, and I've had some really interesting experiences, and a lot of them were really validated in that between life. I had my guide come, and then he spoke to my guide and asked questions about me. And it was kind of an interesting thing, but I really got super, super deep into the life between life thing, which is not really what I wanted to talk to you about.
Right. That's okay. Hold on one second. Can you turn down the headphones just a little bit? I don't know if you guys could hear, like, my wife's wearing headphones, and she's the one on the chat, by the way, but I could kind of hear it through the headphones. So I was like, I don't know if you're hearing me, and hearing me is an echo. So I just had to turn them down real quick. Anyways, all right, I only got a couple minutes with you left. Can you share what you wanted to talk about with me about quickly, or? Well, I'm on a call here. My sister just walked in. Well, it's kind of a little bit longer than a minute, so maybe I'll have to call back. It's my shared death experience with my dad, who passed in March. You can call back next week. Yeah, I'll call back next week because it's really special and kind of long. And unless you want to interview me, I could tell you all sorts of things. But yeah, I can call back next Saturday. That's what I really wanted to tell you about, other than that, the cognitive dissonance. And I don't know how to, the past life, between life, the near-death experience, I didn't have a near-death, but a shared death experience, the spiritual aspect of my own meditations and things that I've learned. I don't know how to quite reconcile that with the whole UFO thing. But again, I've had an experience, so I can't deny it. So I'm having this, I don't know how to put the pieces together thing. And it seems like that's something that you've kind of been maybe grappling with on your show, of how to marry the near-death experience stuff with the UFO stuff. And you've asked those questions, and they seem to be overlapping, but it's an uncomfortable overlap for me, and I don't quite know what to do with it. So, yeah. Well, 2 things. One is there's this group. There's groups all over the country. They called CE5, and they get together and they basically, from what I understand, they meditate and they try to connect with UFOs mentally. And if it's a group of people and they all say, okay, we're here in, whatever, Salt Lake City over by this park, we're all here. Please, if there's UFOs, show up. And I don't know the statistics, but apparently they show up for those people. The reason may be that somehow, well, some of the guests will say that when they're in the other realm, the astral, whatever you want to call it, not only do they see angels or they see Jesus or they see God, they will sometimes see aliens or other non-human intelligences. So somehow,
and I did in an ayahuasca experience I had in Costa Rica. I went to an ayahuasca retreat and I did 4 ayahuasca things, and that's when I saw the aliens.
Okay, there you go. Wow. And that's
so, yeah.
You've done a lot of stuff. You got to catch up with me next week because we can talk about this and other stuff.
Yeah. I don't really want to have a serious confrontational UFO thing. It scares the crap out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to, but yet I have things that are kind of dancing around the outside. So anyway, let you get to the next person. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Janet, thank you so much.
You bet.
You have a good weekend.
You bet. How do I get out?
All right. That was interesting. Don't report. Okay. Where are we? Oh, I think I got that one. I said thank you to a couple people at the same time. All right. So we're down to one person. We have more openings. Once again, my wife is running the chat. So only you guys, my close friends, may know this, but Mara is my wife. Mara is not my middle name. And she is an important unseen part of the podcast. So she's with you today. All right, so let's put in the family's iPhone. This seems familiar. We'll find out who it is when the family's iPhone is here, but boy, that seems familiar. I'm probably going to ask to start video, figure it out once the family is here. I feel like I know who the family is. Let's see. It's a mystery guess. Who is it? The family's iPhone. The family is almost here. While we're waiting, let's see. Carolyn Keehan, thanks for joining us in Ireland. Who else? We lost that person. We lost the family's iPhone. All right, so I was while we're waiting for more people to join, and if you're curious how to join, if you look in the description below the video, it'll say the Zoom ID and the Zoom password. So if you have a Zoom account, all you have to do is just go in Zoom and click join another meeting, and then you can type in the ID and then the password. If that's a little bit more difficult for you, in the community tab, I posted the actual link under the video. So that may help you as well. And we'll see while we're waiting. So I was talking earlier about chiropractic. I still keep my license. I haven't really practiced much in about 4, 5, 6 years, although I did cover somebody's office about 3 or 4 months ago. And I wanted to let you guys know that I had a woman this morning that I interviewed from, I think it was Shoujiang, China. Her name is Amy, and we talked about NDEs, and we talked about UFOs, and we talked about ESP, and we talked about fortune telling in China. So I hope you guys will really like that one. And Susie Owens, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And so, yeah, that should be a really cool one. And a little bit of background about the podcast is that doing the podcast part isn't, I would say this, the hardest part is getting the guests. And as you guys know, I try to put up videos every single day. So finding people is the most difficult thing. And as you guys know, especially finding NDE guests, because I'll do probably more NDE guests in maybe two months than most people will do an entire year. I just go through so many so fast. Typo is here. I think Typo has been on too. That sounds like a familiar a familiar Zoom name. We'll find out who Typo is.
Hi.
Hello.
Is my camera connected? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't see you.
I'm trying to figure out.
Start video.
Host is asked to start video. Okay, cool.
There
hey, fun.
You are.
Oh, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I never did this before. Oh, that's a blast. Thank you.
All right. Where are you from? And what is your name? Or should I call you Typo?
Everyone calls me Typo. And so there you go. And I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm a 40-year near-death experiencer and a long time member of the Boston Near-Death Experiencers group, which is fabulous. And if anyone here is from my group, hi, I miss you guys. I can't wait for a live group again. And my specialty of study, when I was a little kid, at about 7, I fell off of a swing and found myself in a heavenly place. And I could feel that God was around. And I was given a tour, and I saw the water of life. And then I said I didn't want to go back. And they said, you have to. And I was like, no way. And they said, yes, you have to. So I said no again. And then he said, it was my spirit guide. And he said, if I show you why you want to go back, will you go back? And I said, sure. I was thinking, there's no way you're going to show me why I want to go back. So, okay, we're good. And then he showed me my life all the way to my death. Wow. And interesting, at the moment of my death, I was in an airplane, but I was only 7 years old. So I don't know when that was, like early 70s. I had never even seen the inside of a plane. And I was really, really poor growing up. So shoes were a big deal. And I'm in Massachusetts where it's cold. So shoes really matter. And boots are like really important. Well, so I see me as I don't know, I'd say a 50-ish person, right? 50-ish person walking with a little girl, and I'm holding her hand in what looks like now I identify as a walkway to a plane. That's what it ended up looking like. And so I see her walking, and I think, and I can see the back of me, and I'm wearing a skirt, and I have high heel shoes on. And from my little 7-year little kid head, I was like, oh, life gets really better. Life is okay. And so that was a shot that I saw. As you have heard a bazillion times, you can be in the body in a life review. You can be in your body walking with a little girl. And because you have 360 degree view, you can also see it from behind, right? So in that moment of a picture in my head, that's what I was doing. I was walking with the little girl, and at the same time, I could see us from behind. And the next thing I remember, I was in a seat. Now, as an adult, I recognize that as an airplane seat with what seemed to be a white wall, or the wall, like I was in the front row and there was a white wall. So I was in the seat, and I was also kind of seeing it face on, looking at myself. And I had the high heel shoes on. That was a good thing. And I was wearing a skirt, and I was like 50-ish. And I remember thinking, oh, my body works. Like as an adult, my body will work. That's a cool thing. Right. And then, so I'm sitting there, and then either my body went thrust really fast forward, or the plane was moving fast and we hit something. Either way, I can't tell which one of those it is.
Okay.
But at any rate, my body, so now I'm in my body, right? Because you see it from both views. So I'm in my body, and I get thrust really, really fast into this white thing that I perceive as a wall, right? and I crumple up. But as I crumple up, and I can tell I'm crumpling up, but I can't feel anything. As I crumple up, my consciousness continues to move. So then in a second, as fast as you can blink, I'm watching my body crumple up, and I'm ahead of my body looking at it going, oh, wow. So then I'm with my guide, and I'm watching my body crumple. I'm like, oh, that's how I die? And he says, yeah. And I say, and I keep going. He's like, well, yeah, of course. And I'm like, I didn't even feel that. I didn't even care about it. Mm-hmm. And he says, yeah, well, of course. And I'm like, wow. Okay. So then if I do that, I get to be with you again here. Because I could tell this home, this is where we are, and all my friends are here. Oh, and I got to see my neighborhood. I got to see my whole city through when we flew to a place to see memories, to go through this, through the clouds. I could see houses, beautiful, beautiful, white, sparkly, gorgeous places and buildings. And I could feel God all around. It was magical. It was magical. And it was a knowing that this was home. And as I saw the houses, I thought, oh, there's my clan. Now, I don't know if you use the word clan, but I don't use the word clan. And nobody I know in Boston uses the word clan. Mm-hmm. But
uh-oh. I was wondering about that because she's coming back. Okay, yeah. You back? I don't hear you. I'm going to click ask to unmute. I lost you.
Unmute.
Okay, you're back. Now, before you carry on, I need to ask you something because I'm confused. Is he showing you is this plane crash showing you your past life, or is this showing you that what's going to happen to you in this life? Like you're going to be in a plane crash sometime later?
Yeah, he was showing me, if I show you why you want to go back, will you go back? And then he brought me to this place that had all kinds of like big drawers, and he had me open a drawer and look in it. And that's where I saw my life review, my life preview. Mm-hmm. And so he was showing me what I was going to do in my life and how I would die and come back here.
That's interesting. I mean, is it possible? So what happens if you never take a flight again?
Well, so I'll tell you a funny thing. Oh, so then I realized like, oh, cool. You don't even notice death because when your body goes away, your consciousness just keeps moving, right? Now that can happen from laying down and dying, like having the flu or something, getting up, or it could be a plane crash. But I'll tell you, I didn't even care about it. I was like, oh, okay, good. And then I'm back here and he says, yeah. I'm like, all right, good. So then, now I'm walking a little 3-year-old girl, right? A girl that's shorter than me. So eventually through this thing, he brings me to the water of life because I was really stressed. I was really tired from a hard life. And so he brought me to the water of life, and he told me to put my hand in it, and it went all up in my body and totally refreshed me. And I knew that was a favor he was doing. And then he said, I said, okay, I'm ready to go back. And then I said, are you going to be here when I come back? Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, I'll meet you. I'll be here. And I said, okay, great. And then I felt a tap on my back, and I turned around to see what it was. And my head started throbbing. It hurt so much. And I went to move my arm to feel my head where it hurt. And I felt the heaviness of a physical body. And I'm like, oh, he sent me back. I'm back in this body. I'm like, what a ripoff. I had so many more questions. So that was the end. And now I have a life. And I've always wondered, if I never fly, what is it? Now, ultimately, I believe you have a time. So if you happen to be in a flight, you're gone. And if you happen to be scuba diving, you're gone because your time is your time, right?
Right.
That's my kind of overall theory.
Hmm.
But I did come to an interesting thing. I had a child. He was grown. I was done having kids. I was all done, and I only had a boy. And at a certain point, I said, okay, well, now I'm too old to have kids. So let's start designing our retirement. And my husband said, oh, wait, hold on. I've been so busy with career. I need a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, well, how bad do you need a child? And he said, for my life. And I thought, oh, all right, well, if you're someone's partner and they need a child for their life, wow, that's a commitment, right? That's an important reason. Mm-hmm. So I gave birth to a beautiful blonde girl. Mm. And then I realized, and my head didn't even put it together for like 3 years, until one day she walked into the kitchen and I thought, oh my God, I have you now and I'm older. Wow. So she, all along the period of time that was her age, that I could imagine my age would match hers. My family has been on these flying places where they just want to go flying all the time. They want to go traveling all the time. And every single time I say, no, I'm not willing to go yet. So at a certain point, I did a meditation because I feel like God is always with me. I feel like I never really left. I'm just experiencing us doing this, right? Much like you'd experience a life review, right? Mm-hmm. It feels the same. So I don't feel like I've moved. I just feel like I have both. I can talk to Jeffmara mm-hmm. and have a great conversation. Mm-hmm. And I can talk to God because he's right here. He never left, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So he kind of is with me all the time. I kind of constantly laugh with him and say, oh my God, I can't find my shoes. You must think that is so funny. Well, I'm alive and it's not funny. I can't find my shoes. Mm. So at any rate, I never flew while she was in that window, but interestingly enough, now during my life review, at some point I could see the learning curves, and my phone is small, so I'm not sure you can see my hand, but in my review, I could see windows of learning, like a graph, and they were like hills that went up and down and up and down. And I'm a slow learner. In this life, I'm dyslexic, which is why they call me Typo. Mm. And I'm a slow learner. Okay. I really have to learn by exercising the learning. So I saw a graph, and my background is economics. So I work with graphs. So in this life review, I had a graph, and I would learn, and then I'd do it wrong, and then I'd go down, and then whoop, I'd do it again, and I have to repeat it, and then I'd get it right, and then I'd go on to the next one. So there were about 5 of these big learning things that I had set up for myself. I knew I had to do them. That was what I wanted to finish. So I'm on my last one, and I'm up at the top of it. So I haven't mastered it. I'm struggling along, getting through that. And then I then I go down and I'll get to leave. So that's how I see the windows. Now, when I was in that near death moment where he brought me to this place where I could preview my life or see my life, when I first looked in the drawer, I had seen a little boy. And I was looking at the little boy's life, and I saw him born, and he was doing things, but the things he was learning didn't seem all that significant. They weren't. There was like a million of them, and they were all small. And he'd learn it, and then he'd do the next one, then he'd do the next one. So it kind of got monotonous. It didn't keep my attention. So as I'm watching this little boy's life, and he's getting older, I'm thinking, yeah, it's kind of a little monotonous. And that's when I saw the little girl's life, and I saw all that ended up being me. And I was like, oh, that's why, because I'm learning these 5 things. And when I finish the last one, I can leave. So at a certain point, I stopped and I meditated in terms of dying in a plane crash. At a certain point, my daughter's a little shorter than me, which made it hard to gather in my head whether is it now or is it in 3 years, or did I already skip it because I wouldn't fly? Mm-hmm. So at a certain point, I spent a few days meditating and really deciding and saying, I don't want to go yet. I know I'm supposed to because I'm finishing up this last hill. I want to change that. So I'm going to use free will and make a request to you, God. I'm changing that. And I've always known about when I'm going to leave. And most people don't. So I count myself lucky. But I want to change that. And after I learn this thing, I want to get her through college years. I want to get her to adulthood. And so if I have the right to free will, that's my request. Now, I know I'll go home, but it'd be really nice if you could let me get that far. And I feel like that was, it felt like there was no conflict. It felt airy. It felt, okay. Now, of course, I won't know till we get there. Mm-hmm. And the last interesting thing, so that's the story. And the last interesting thing that I wanted to ask you, because what you do is so amazingly cool, right, is just awesome, is one of the things I've always studied is I came back knowing we were psychic, knowing we could do telepathy, knowing we could do healing, knowing we could do we could see auras, and we could do all of the 6 senses that humans could do. But when in the 70s, you couldn't say that without being crazy, right? And in the 80s, you really couldn't say it. And then maybe around the mid 80s, you could start to say you had, what's that called? Deja vu, right? You could be deja vu and not be crazy.
Right.
And then in the early 90s, you could talk about things like this at the beginning. So I've watched the progression more like an adolescence of spirit we know we're going through the Great Awakening where we're going to learn this, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to learn healing, so all of these people have come back. We're up to 30 million now, right? There, about a few years back, I asked the president of IANS in an interview how many people had come back from near-death experiences, and her estimate was 20 million. Mm-hmm. And that was, I'm bad at time, but I would guess that was about 4 or 5 years ago. If any of you are Boston IANS members and you're listening in on this, hi, because you know this whole story. And if I'm wrong with that, with when I asked her, because you might have been there when I asked her, and you remember when it was, put it in the chat so we know. But my guess is about 4-ish years ago. So I would guess we're up to 30 million near-death experiencers. Easy. That's an easy estimate. Mm-hmm. So with that, what I study is the stories that people come back with to help us make a smooth transition and create the tools that we know we've been sent back to here, right? We know that we've always known crystals heal, and vibration heals the body. And we know that we're going to have a healing room. People talk about beds, but we're really going to just do it in a room that looks like a shower. And we're going to use, and we know that now that crystals, UV light is what crystals emit, right? Mm-hmm. So UV light and harmonics is what will heal the human body. And we have to learn those. What else do we know? We know that we do a ton of things. So I would love if your people, and when you ask them, if you can ask them what they learned that we're going to learn in the future, because it's so valuable, right? We're given that so that we can make good choices. Right. And you're doing it. So that's so cool. Do you hear a lot? What's your best healing thing?
It's not that common that people know what's going to happen in the future. Sometimes they do. It's really not that common. if they happen to mention that they'll, usually they'll kind of key me in by saying, while I was in my experience, I learned of things that were going to happen in the future. And then I'll usually ask, okay, well, what did you see? But it's not as common as you think it would be. Anyways, Typo, I'm so sorry. I've got to run to the next person.
It's a blast. Thank you.
Thank you so much for stopping by. And hey, I'm always looking for more NDE guests. So if you have any Boston friends from Ions, can you please send them my way? Because I try to do this every day, and it's, you're saying there's 20 million of them out there, or 30 million. I need them to start contacting me so I can keep bringing these every day.
You know what? It's my pleasure to do that. I will absolutely. And I've thought about it a few times and figured they listen in. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, very cool. You're so new and you're growing so fast, and you're a fabulous interviewer. So keep up the good work, and we're grateful. And I'll send my Boston people your way.
Thank you so
They're
much.
in every city.
Okay.
They're in every city. So you can find people. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty, guys. You got without even me expecting it, you guys got an NDE tonight. That was pretty cool. Very cool, actually. That's the first time that's happened. So we had a live NDE story. All right, let's check out Diana. She has been patiently waiting, so let's get her in. Oh. Let me see if I can click on that. Oh, I think
they're in every city, so you can find people. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye. Hello? I think that was the one. I think it'll pop up on me later. I'm like behind you for some reason in the chat. Diana.
Hello.
I hear you. I just don't see you.
Okay.
You are like what your name says, a spy. You're just not there yet. There you are.
Okay, how's that?
Hello.
Hi. So nice to see you.
Likewise. Where are you at tonight?
I am in Dallas.
In Dallas. All right. You're not far from me. I'm in San Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
You are a fellow Texan.
Well, transplanted. I'm originally from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, do you want me to start with the latest, the earliest?
Well, what are we going to talk about? You tell me. What are you going to share with us today, Diana?
Well, I was a preemie, and my parents told me they thought they almost lost me. So I think I had probably an NDE at birth, but and I've always been sensitive because of that. And when I was 5, my earliest remembering is when I was 5 or 6. I was in my brother's room, and there was a door to the attic, and through the door came a luminous being shaped as a human, and it was glowing, and I was just had been sitting up looking out the window and just pondering, and then when I saw it come through the door, I just kind of wondered what it wanted, and then it moved to the side of the bed, and then I immediately moved out of the room. And then halfway to my parents' room, I stopped and looked behind me to see if it was coming, and it followed me. It glided. And then I went to my parents' room and sat on the end of their bed and looked at the doorway, and it walked up to the doorway. And then I started seeing all these amazing things made of light. I started seeing like golden snowflakes, like large flakes, and it was all around me, and I was just enjoying it. And then I started seeing a rotating sphere, but it was animals made of light. I remember a leopard and just animals, and I was observing it and just enjoying that. And then after a while, I noticed that I could control the speed of it, and I could stop it, and I could make it go. And then I looked on the floor,
and there seemed to be a shadow animal, and it was a turtle. And my father used to trap turtles, so they were very familiar. And I reached out to touch it because it was just so fascinating. It was like vibrating. And then when I touched it, everything stopped. Everything, it was done. And that was when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was 16, I was with my sister. We were walking out to her car, and I looked down the street. It was a dead end. There was a factory. And I seen this very bright, luminous being. And I was like, wow. And it was walking sideways. You know, I seen like the profile version. And then when it noticed that I was observing it, it faced me. And I was like, wow. And I was looking at it. I noticed it had a black belt, and there was a circle in the wide belt, and it was the same color as its body. And then I went to my sister. I go, oh, look. And then it was gone.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, I should have just stayed looking at it. And then most recently, a couple of days after a friend of mine passed, Susan, I had gone to the funeral home, and it was the day before her burial. And then this was 2 days after. I was at work, and I'm a dental lab technician, so I'm kind of a bench jockey, and I'm working away at my bench. And then all of a sudden I look to my right, and she's standing there, and I'm going, oh, cool. You know, and she was transparent. It was like, you know, she was there, but yet she wasn't. And I'm going, oh, Susan, hi. And then she was peeking over and looking at my work and watching me, what I was doing. And she just said, interesting. And she used to have this saying that she would do this. She would do one eye open, and she would say interesting when she thought it was profound. And she had been to Israel and seen all these amazing things, and had a very spiritual life as well. And she had died of cancer, but that was the most recent. That was fun.
That's an amazing story. How did you feel how did you feel after you saw her? Were you freaked out, or were you just like, it didn't seem to faze you?
Well, I just loved her so much. I mean, I love her so much that I was just kind of wowed. Go, this is kind of cool. And after a while, I started feeling guilty, you know, like I'm at work, I'm gonna, you know, get in trouble, or, you know, something's gonna happen because I'm sitting there doing nothing. And then I was starting to think, does she want me to send Steve, her husband, a message or something? And once again, I looked at my workbench, and I was trying to decide, you know, what I should focus on. And then she was gone.
That's interesting. Well, thank you for sharing those stories with us, Diana. I really appreciate you coming in and stopping by.
Yeah, it was definitely my pleasure. And I am still going to be watching you.
Well, thank you so much. And I wish you the best, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So she saw her friend at work right there, standing next to her. What would you guys do if you saw someone that had passed show up at your work, looking over your shoulder and saying, that's interesting? All right, Kevin Town is here. Now, Kevin, I just did a video with Kevin. What did I post that? 2 or 3 days ago, about his encounter with an angel that is a nurse. And we'll see. He sent me a picture of it. He's about to show up. There he is. Kevin.
You see me?
I see you.
How you doing?
Good.
Believe me, Jeff, I'm not trying to wear out my welcome. I'm sorry if you're getting tired of me.
That's all right. So your video did well. There's a lot of positive comments about your experience.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
If you guys didn't see it, I just had Kevin here and he talked about how a nurse was an angel that happened to be a nurse was with him in the hospital. So what do you got to share with us today?
Well, I'll try to make this fast as humanly possible because I know you have other guests waiting in the queue. And like I told you before, I've had tons of paranormal experiences in my life. This is one that was relatively recent. Excuse me. As you know, I used to, like I mentioned to you, I think before, that I used to build campers on my previous YouTube channel, Homemade Teardrop Campers.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I had a different channel and I had more subscribers on that channel than what are on my current channel. And when I was in the middle of my, well, it was at the end of my fourth build, soon to go into my fifth build. And every time I would build a trailer, I would take them out and test them before I would sell them to make sure that they towed properly and all that. Plus, I wanted to see how comfortable it was sleeping in it and whatnot. But what happened when I was away on the very first weekend with this brand new trailer that I just built to go test it for the weekend, my house was broke into. They smashed out the back bedroom window. They came in through my garden, trampled my squash and tomato plants, smashed out the window and crawled through the window. And actually the person had a small child with them. And I know who did it. He came with his son. And this was a subscriber of mine, of my channel, broke into my house because it was on my channel that I was going to be going to test my camper. And they knew I wasn't going to be home and they figured this was a good time to hit my house.
Wow.
So he sent his son through the bedroom window to go around and unlock the door to let him in because he was too big of a guy to crawl through this small little bedroom window that I have in my bedroom. And they took my safe. And in there I had $2,500 cash. I had medals and military papers belonging to my dad, who was a World War II vet. And I had just a whole bunch of personal things in there from family members that are now deceased, including both of my parents. And so it was stuff that was irreplaceable. There's no way I'd get it back. The other thing that was in the safe, buried in the bottom beneath all those priceless items, was an envelope of all the guitars that I've owned since I learned how to play guitar at the age of 18. And once I remembered that those were in the safe and everything else that was in the safe, I was just distraught over the fact that I was never going to see those things ever again. And I was just very upset about it because I had an idea who did it. And then later I found out exactly who did it. I just couldn't prove it. And so the detectives came, they dusted my house. Looking for prints. They said the person obviously wore gloves. They couldn't find anything to link anybody to the crime. And he recommended, he says, you need to get surveillance, which I did. So right after the investigation was done, I got full surveillance on my house. And these are the kind of cameras I use, these Anki infrared cameras. I have them all over the house and inside the house. You cannot come on my property without being recorded on the DVR. Right. And so when I got robbed, I really felt violated. I mean, they trashed the bedroom. They went through my closet. They made a mess and it just felt dirty. So I took everything out of my closet. I've got these bifolding doors that open up. And it's a pretty deep closet. And I took everything out because the officer said to me, make sure that everything is accounted for because sometimes you can miss and something could be missing and you don't realize it. So he says, go through everything and make sure there's nothing else missing because I had to take out an insurance claim because I have renter's insurance. So that's what I did. And I cleaned out the closet. I got out the vacuum. I vacuumed out the closet. The thing was empty. And everything that I took out got inventoried and then it got put back. And several weeks later, after I got robbed and I now had the surveillance system in place, long before I did this, the surveillance was in place. And one night I opened up my closet doors and right at my feet was this envelope right here. The pictures of my guitars.
Wow.
All the guitars that I have owned throughout the years. This, Jeff, was in my safe below everything that belonged to my parents. These are just tons and tons of photos of guitars, tons of them.
Wow.
And these photos are irreplaceable because I no longer have these guitars. I've had lots of different ones throughout the years and amplifiers and everything else. So I did not expect to ever see these again. And there they were, laying right as soon as I opened up the doors, right at my feet was this envelope laying right there. Nobody could get into this house or step onto this property, which is out in the open. I'm on 55 acres of land. You couldn't even approach this house, let alone get into my house without being fully recorded day or night. And I've got signs posted all the way around the house that this property is under 24-hour surveillance. So there is warning to anybody that comes on the property that you are on camera. So nobody could have gotten to my house to bring these back. So how this envelope of my guitars ended up back in my possession, I should not have this in my hand right now. This is a miracle. The safe is gone. I never found the safe. I hiked out to the woods out back and I searched in the weeds and everywhere on this property, all the way down to the stream that runs out behind the property, figuring maybe they cracked it open once they got so far away from the house, took the contents and left the heavy safe. Nothing was discovered on the property. And I searched with a fine-tooth comb over every inch of this property, looking for anything that I could find. They took it home and I never saw anything again. And then these came back to me. That closet, Jeff, was emptied out and I cleaned it myself. This envelope was not in the closet. It was in my safe. I know that for a fact. I know everything that was in that safe because I even told the officers everything that was in that safe, and they filled out a police report and they logged what was in that safe, what kind of safe it was, how much cash was taken. And it was a YouTuber that I grew up and went to school with. I grew up with him. I know who it is. And I proved it to myself that he's the one that did it. And, but I couldn't prove it to the authorities, and he's never returned since. And, how did this end up back in my house? How did I get the photos of my guitars back? I wish I could have got the stuff that was, of my dad and my mom, and a book that my grandmother gave me that she signed to me before she died in 1977 when I was a little kid. She signed the book because it was a book that I enjoyed her reading to me when I was a little kid, called A Little Peachling. And that stuff is irreplaceable, but this was in the safe. And it ended up back in my closet weeks later, right on the floor, right in front of the bifolding doors, to where as if you just slid it right underneath the door right there. It was right there in plain view as soon as I opened those doors. I can't explain that.
So how do you think it got back in your room?
I wish I could tell you. That's why I'm telling the story. I have no, Jeff, honest to God, these pictures should not be in my possession because I know for a fact these were in the safe. They were underneath the little Peachling book because it was the small, like, Sentry safe. This is not a safe that you would want to keep valuables in. It was more for fire than it was for theft. But because I had it on hand,
right,
like an idiot, I put $2,500 in there. Very stupid thing to do. I know this now, hindsight. I should have put it in the bank, but I didn't. And it was because I was constantly buying materials for building my campers. And it was nice to just have the money to when I needed to go to Home Depot to pick up lumber and whatnot. The money was there. So if I went on a Sunday, I didn't have to worry about going to the ATM or whatever. And I never should have done that. But because that's not a safe you ever want to put money in. So the Sentry safe was just like those ones you get at Walmart with just you can break into them easy. They just picked it up and they took it. And this was in there. I know for a fact what was in there. I only had certain amount of items in there because the thing was only this deep. So it's not like you could have a ton of stuff in there.
Right.
And these were in the bottom because I wanted these to be really protected with my dad's military papers, to where if the safe got hot, to where if there was a fire, that this stuff would have a better chance of surviving. And that's why I put them in there, because these are old photos from guitars I've had throughout the years. And lo and behold, weeks later, I open up the closet door and it's right there on the floor. And nobody could have got back into my house to bring these pictures back because they would have been on surveillance. And I've checked my surveillance and I would look at it day and night, and nobody had been into the house. Plus I put all new locks on the doors. I put expanded metal over the window after the window was replaced. I had to have a whole entire new window because they destroyed it. They pried it up with a crowbar. There's no way in a million years should these photos of these guitars be in my hand right now tonight as I speak to you. I have no idea how these ended up back in my house.
That's a big time mystery, Kevin.
It is. But that's what I mean. A lot of paranormal things, Jeff, happen to me all the time. Some things are scary, spooky. Other things are just mysterious. This one just falls under mysterious because it's just photos. But there's no way they should be in my possession. I have no idea how they made it back into my house.
Well, Bud, I'm going to run to the next person, but maybe you can come back next week and give us another story.
Sure, will do. Thanks a lot, Jeff, for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Bud. Take care.
You have a good night. Bye-bye.
Don't report, and we'll go on to Joanne, who I think Joanne has been patiently waiting for us. So thank you, Joanne. And by the way, everybody, for anybody who may be new here, my wife is the one that's working the chat, and she is Mara. So Jeffmara is me and my wife. That's the podcast for you that are here with me, my close friends. You get to know that if you don't already know that. My wife is an important unseen part of the podcast, and Mara is not my last name, but that's okay. Some people call me Mr. Mara all the time, and I'm okay with that. So we can see now if we can get Joanne in. Let's hit start. And we're up to 226 people, so thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And we will go if we can get Joanne in. She's almost here. She is almost in. Almost here. So, I have been mentioning yet earlier in the podcast that I did one this morning with a woman from China. I think it's Shangzhou, China. I can't remember what it was. But we talked about fortune tellers in China, NDEs in China, UFOs in China. And I think you guys will like this podcast. It was a fun one. And it's nice to hear, what's going on in China. And I'll give you a little bit of a preview. People suffer from sleep paralysis in China, but they call it demon. Well, this is just a translation. Demon pressing you against the bed. I wish I could remember the word she said, what it was in Chinese, but that's what it's known as. So a common occurrence in China that people are getting pressed against the bed by demons. And maybe they have kind of like an OBE when that happens. Let's see. Where is Joanne? Asked to start video. We'll try that again. Yes, I will give it a try for sure. Kind of looking over here. Stay away from the fortune teller. What was interesting is that when she was talking about that, fortune telling is kind of falls into a gray area in China, and it appears that the government kind of turns a blind eye towards it. And I think we were kind of both speculating that maybe, people in the government use the fortune tellers themselves, so that's why they don't kind of, put too much pressure on them. Joanne, welcome. You made it.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not muted, am I?
No, you're not. I hear you nice and clear. Where are you from?
From Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. We just had another one from Massachusetts. Did you catch her? It was
yes,
Typo.
I did.
Do you know her?
Yes, I did.
Are you acquainted with Typo?
No, I actually just moved about a year ago. But yes, I do have a very interesting story to tell this evening, if you'd like to hear it.
Sure.
Well, it started back in the 90s. I had taken this psychology class on death and dying, and one of the assignments was to write your own obituary. So I had to basically talk about my own death. So in the obituary, I wrote that I died in a car accident at 63 years old. So this past year, in March, when I was 63 years old, we had moved. I had totally forgotten about writing this obituary, and I had going through some boxes, some stuff that we had packed, and I found it. And I was at work, and all of a sudden, I was thinking about the fact that I'm 63 years old, and I had found this, prediction that I would die in a car accident. So I basically said to the universe, I work as a nurse, and I said, you know what, I'm still needed. I'd like an extension. Mm-hmm. And within I'd say less than 2 months later, I was in a head-on car crash where someone hit me had fallen asleep at the wheel, and my car was completely totaled. Mm. And I feel like we have different possible exit points, and that this could have been one of my points where I could have, crossed over. But I didn't, because I had asked for that extension. So I thought that was, really something else that I'm also very sensitive, and I know about things, I'll dream about things before they happen. Mm-hmm. And I've had a lot of different experiences, so that was something.
Well, since you dream about things that before they happen, do you believe then that the future is already decided?
No, I do believe that we have something to say about the life we're about to live. I think our soul comes to learn certain lessons. I had an experience when I have a daughter, and when I was pregnant with her, I had strong premonitions that something was wrong with the baby. And I actually had a moment where I felt the soul of my unborn baby was there and was getting to know me, and basically sent this telepathic message that this time I'm going to be the child and you're going to be the mother. So we basically plan to come together in this lifetime. So I think that we learn different things. We have something to see, I think we can kind of get a preview of things that can happen, but I think that there's a lot of random things that happen. Definitely, I don't believe in everything is planned out and going to happen in a certain way. I think that there's definitely room for creativity in a creative universe.
Well, I'm glad that you renegotiated your departure date.
I know. I am too.
All right. Well, you got anything else going on with you spiritually or paranormally or anything like that?
Just a lot of synchronicities.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that there are no coincidences?
Absolutely. And I think that the universe is always communicating. I will just see different things. Like I'll be thinking of something, and then a truck will go by with like a couple of words. It's basically the answer to the question that I had. So I feel like it's a creative universe, and that everything is connected, and we're all here really to help each other. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate your show, and it really means a lot to me. Your guest, it's really an incredible show. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you guys watching, including you, and, my guests too. I'm like a little part of the show. It's the guest and you guys. I just happen to be a guy in the middle that kind of facilitates it all.
Right.
But thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Take care.
You too. I saw that. Joy, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And I mentioned that we're going to be live. I wonder, are you going to stop by and say hello to everybody? And we'll get Kim Possible in. I think she was here last week, Kim Possible. Oh, thank you for that, Mo. Man-Made Smith, hi from Canada. Thank you, Shira. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Well, I'm waiting for Kim's video to start. Fuzzy Joy. Now, Fuzzy Joy was a guest before. You've seen Fuzzy Joy. I don't know what number she was, but she was a guest, and her brother Ahimsa was a guest as well. I love it when people see their pets on the other side. Yes, I think that's cool too. I've had a few guests talk about that. I think one of my guests, I don't know if maybe his was during a DMT trip, but I'm not really sure if it was that or what. But one of them, I think, saw every pet he'd ever had. I think it was a guy. I wonder if you guys can remember that podcast. You know what I should probably do next time is give you guys maybe like a preview of all the people for the week, but I didn't write it out and can tell you all the next ones. But I think that might be pretty cool to tell you, like, okay, maybe on Tuesday you're going to see this, on Wednesday you're going to see this. But then also it's hard to say that because sometimes guests have to cancel or or reschedule on the last moment. It happens from time to time, so I don't want to make any false promises either. All right, so it looks like I think Allie's Galaxy S20 FE 5G is Joy, so maybe we'll get her on after we have Kim Possible, if she can make it. Hopefully she can. Oh, there went that one. Thank you so much, Penny. I appreciate that. Let's see. That would be great. Moonwalks around the bedroom. I never was very good at moonwalking, so that's pretty cool that you can do that. Marine Mama 62, welcome. I've seen you in the chat quite a bit. Science Learn Remember asks, why does God exist? And I missed it. Too late. This is like a big campfire. That's true. Maybe I should do that sometime. I should get like a black screen behind me and it looks like a campfire or something, that we're all... We need roasted marshmallows. No one knows why anything. So there's the answer to that. We all need to get together in person. I've been thinking of that. Maybe once COVID is over, at least I've been thinking like one of these days, maybe I can travel to Australia because at least 30% of my guests, if not more, maybe even 40% of my guests are from Australia. And so many are from like the Sydney area. So it'd be pretty cool to like go down there and just like have a meetup with all the guests at once. That's a big one. And another big one where a lot of guests are all from is London. I've had quite a few guests from London, so that would be pretty cool to like have a guest meetup. And the US is so big, so excuse me, it's hard to really, there's too many different areas. Although I think probably the city with the most guests I've had so far is Phoenix. I think Phoenix is the one that I think the most have come through. Travel is expensive, that too. All right, Kim Possible, what is going on with your situation? You are not getting in. And by the way, it is open. So again, if you're thinking about it, if you go to the description, which is underneath the video, I put the password and the Zoom ID, room ID for you to get in. If you just have a Zoom account, you type in the ID and then you type in the password and here you will be. If you need an actual link to join us, then if you go to the community tab part of the channel, like if you go to the home page and it'll say like videos and maybe playlists, and then it'll say like community. If you click on that, you'll see, you should be able to find the actual link. And Candace McQueen is here from Michigan. And Angela says, please come to India. I got to make it to India too. We got Angela there. We've got Sam the Illusionist. We've got Rosalind Bosco. I thought she was going to show up and say hi because we chatted during the week. And we have, oh gosh, we had another guy from Southwest India. I forgot his name though. He is there. and I hope to get more from India. And I've been working really hard for you guys on getting Muslims who've had NDEs, or people who've had NDEs and became Muslim and stuff like that. So I hope to get these people in, because I think it would be really cool. I'm curious about it, and I think you guys would like that too. Thank you for that, JC Batha. All right, I don't know what to say about Kim Possible. I do not know what to say. She's not able to get in, and other people have been there and are not there. So I will, if you guys want to ask me a question, I'm willing to answer that while we're waiting, if Kim can get her Zoom working. Yes, come to Phoenix. You live there. See Linda. Linda, there's quite a few I've had there right in your city. Oh, I think Kim is here. She's connecting. It's really dark there.
Sorry, I'm in my car, Jeff.
Oh, that's okay. That's interesting. That's kind of a cool place to be, is in your car.
Do I look spooky?
Well, someone said earlier that they felt like we're in a campfire, so I think that kind of almost puts us there in a campfire together in your car.
Oh, okay. Use our imaginations, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's so nice. It's finally nice to meet you, Jeff.
Nice to meet you.
I had some technical difficulties getting in last Saturday. I guess it said you didn't let me in once, so it wouldn't let me go back in or something. I don't know.
That's weird.
But I really tried.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you still trying and coming back this week. And by the way, where are you from?
Oh, you're never going to guess, Jeff. Just take a guess.
Oh, gosh.
Just say it.
Connecticut?
Massachusetts.
Oh, well, I was one state over. You're the third one. Did you know the other two?
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to guess.
I should have.
I thought it was so funny.
I should have known the hint.
That's okay.
So do you know the other ladies that were on?
No, but I actually tuned in late. I was trying to take a nap and I couldn't. So here I am, and I tuned into your show, and then I entered your Zoom information, and bingo.
And bingo.
Success.
Here we are. So what's going on with you paranormally, spiritually?
Well, when I was in my teens and early 20s, looking back, and that was quite a while ago, I had some unusual things that happened, and so it scared me. So I never really wanted to welcome that kind of stuff again. I'll give you an example, okay? And also I wanted to share my Kundalini experience with you as well. So I'll be brief, but I had a friend I was hanging out with, I think I was junior year of high school or senior. Anyway, this is back in the 80s, and we're at my friend's house, his parents' house, and my brother was there. And so my brother and my male friend were smoking.
Right.
And so my guy friend put the ceiling fan on so that the smoke wouldn't smell in the house, because it was his parents' house. Long story short, we looked up and the fan was hanging by a wire. And this was like a metal fan, because back in the 80s, things weren't, everything's plastic now. So I consciously remember moving away from the fan, and I sat by the dining room table. Well, time went on and we were all talking, and I forgot about the fan, and I was back under the fan. Now, I felt psychically that fan was falling on me, so I immediately just put my arms like this without even seeing it. I'm telling you, it was the freakiest thing. In the meantime, my friend literally took one step forward and caught that fan in midair before it hit my head. I swear to God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was so freaky. And I said to him, I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that? How did you know it was falling? He said, I didn't. I saw you crouch and I immediately just stepped in to do what I needed to do. And I'm like, nah, you must have saw it. So I swear to God, that happened when I was like 17 years old. So, and then other things like I did have a dream that came true exactly. It was a dream about I had a date come over and we were talking on the couch, and I was renting an apartment from my father. And my father, when he goes up the stairs, man, you can hear him. You know, just his steps were like boom, 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 boom. So I had a dream. I was seeing this guy, and I'm like 21, and he's over at my house, and we're just sitting on the couch talking. I think I made him a dinner, spaghetti dinner or something. And in the dream, I hear my father's footsteps come up the 3 flights of stairs, and him banging on the door. My father like never would call me and tell me he'd come over. If he was in the area, he'd just pop in. So it was about, I don't know, 8:30 at night. So in this dream, I hear him coming up, and I'm sitting on the couch with this date, and I hear the footsteps and the knock, and boom, I go to the door, and it's my father. Mm-hmm. Well, wouldn't you know, within a week, that guy came over, and it happened exactly like the dream. I'm not kidding you. And my father was really old-fashioned, so he didn't really like me having like men over in my own apartment. And even though I was 21, like back in the day, you know, in the 80s, you know, I think people are a little more old-fashioned or more like, you know, kind of like hid that kind of stuff from your parents. My father was very domineering, very strong man. He could walk into a room and like suck the energy out of it. Mm-hmm. And another time I was on a motorcycle with my friend's date. We were all kind of friends, and she wasn't available. And he asked me if I wanted to go on a motorcycle ride. So we go on this motorcycle ride, and we end up 2 towns away. I don't know this town. I know the town, but I don't know like my way around. And so we're driving, and all of a sudden I got a premonition that we're going to be going up this hill. And as we're going up this hill, it curves. And as it curves, we can't see the car coming in the other direction because there's parked cars on the right side, like where we were driving upward. So I'm like telling him to slow down because I knew instinctively, and I have like tears in my eyes. I could just see this flash of what was going to happen. And I told him, please slow down, please slow down. And he didn't at first. And then finally he did. And then I said to him, are we going to be going up? I have to shout because he's driving the motorcycle. I said, are we going to be going up this hill of a road that curves? And he goes, yeah, how'd you know? And I said, just slow down, just slow down. So I'm looking for this car as we go up this hill. And sure enough, if we were going any faster, he wouldn't have seen us, and we could have possibly crashed. I was 17 when that had happened, but we didn't crash. And then afterwards we talked about it, and he's like, yeah, that was weird. Yeah. So now I'll tell you about my Kundalini experience, because I don't want to take up too much time because I know you have other people. Okay. So I just want to say that this happened to me when I was about 23. I wasn't a religious person, but I had done something when I was like 17 that I felt guilty for. And I felt like it was an insult to God. And I pondered it. And then, I don't know, I think my guilt, I just kind of buried it. I didn't want to deal with it. So I don't know, it would come up into my mind every now and then. It wasn't really haunting me. It was just kind of like I don't know. Well, one day I'm in my apartment. It's the same apartment that I had the dream that came true. One day I was thinking about it. It came to my head again, and I didn't really feel like a lot of guilt or shame over it. But for some reason, something in my conscience told me, why don't you just pray and ask for forgiveness? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like I said, I wasn't emotional. I wasn't feeling guilty necessarily. It was just kind of like, if this keeps coming to my head, then maybe I should just do something so it won't come to my head anymore. Like, obviously it's haunting me a little bit, So, and like I said, I wasn't a religious person. We hardly ever went to church. I did pray at night on my knees, just to say a few prayers because I like to do that. And no formal religion, no understanding of the Bible or anything. And so I get down on my knees. Oh, wait, before I tell you, a few days to a week before that, I got this inner feeling like something really good was going to happen. This intuition. And I had no idea what it was going to be, but I was certain of it. And I remember telling this girl at work about it. Well, anyway, something really good did happen. When I got on my knees to pray, I prayed to God for forgiveness over this thing because I felt like I had done something. I guess maybe a couple years later at this time when I was 23, maybe I saw it differently than when I was 17 that, you should pray about this. It wouldn't hurt. Mm-hmm. So I get down on my knees at my bed, and this wasn't before bedtime. This is like, I don't know, after work sometime. And I'm having just a normal day. I get on my knees and I start praying. And I'm not emotional, but I'm sincere. And I'm like, God, I just want to, tell you how sorry I am. And I started feeling the sorrow over this. Well, I'm telling you right now, it was like, I felt like tension in my stomach with this guilt I was feeling, this small amount of guilt and this repentance. And it was like somebody took a hand and just pulled it right away and it was gone. Mm-hmm. And my stomach was fine. Mm-hmm. But then what happened was amazing. And I found out just recently during COVID from watching YouTube videos that what I had was a spontaneous Kundalini experience. Now, I never knew what it was. So decades, I didn't know. Long story short, I'll just explain what it felt like. I had my eyes closed. And as that feeling of, guilt was taken away, that uncomfortableness in my stomach was taken away, very slowly, it was filled with this like pink tickle, and then it got bigger. And I'm noticing this as it's happening, and I know I'm not making this happen. If I could make this happen, I'd be making this happen all the time. It was great. And as I'm like focused on it, I'm feeling pretty peaceful, and it's getting stronger. And it's getting stronger. And this is happening within seconds, and it's getting stronger. And then I'm getting like a visual as to what it would look like. And all I can describe would be like neon pink with a little bit of orange. And then I start seeing it like a coil because it's moving like a coil up into my mid stomach area and then slowly up towards my chest. And as this is happening, it's getting stronger and stronger. So now it's feeling like a high. And mind you, I didn't drink much back then. I didn't do any drugs. I was pretty straight-laced, boring kind of young woman. I wasn't into that kind of stuff. And it started getting stronger. The more it moved up towards my head, the stronger it got. And it got so strong, it kept coiling up and coiling up. And I was aware of it. And I realized that I wanted it to go as high as I could stand it, but it got so strong. It was like joy, ecstasy, nirvana. I wasn't even aware of my body anymore or anything except for this feeling. And as it moved towards my head, I felt like the only way I can compare it to something here on earth is if you've had too much to drink and you're laying on the bed and the room is spinning, but you're spinning too. You know that feeling? And if you close your eyes, it's worse. So you'll open your eyes, because if you're having that kind of dizziness, you feel like you're going to just like, I don't know, fall off the bed, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got stronger and stronger and stronger. And finally it was moving up in my head. Okay. And then it was like, I was 100% certain that if I didn't stop it, I was going somewhere. My soul was going somewhere. And I said, oh, heck no. I was not ready for that leap. And it was just so strong. I mean, it was so strong, but yet I was able to control it. And so once I stopped it, I sat back and I was aware of my body again. And I realized I had a smile on my face, not a big smile, but like a content smile. And I sat back, and it was like, I didn't like go, oh my God, what was that? Or anything like that. I was like in this peaceful, accepting state. And I was just like, got up, left my bedroom, and just went on with what I was going to do with the rest of the night. And it was so weird. It was like I forgot about it. I just went to bed. I slept great. I didn't remember it till the next morning. And then I didn't know what it was. And a friend who's very religious told me that it was a charismatic experience, like from God. But what I realized from doing some research over the past few months, that it was a full-blown Kundalini experience. Now, I can't say that I've received any gifts after or any, special abilities, because I don't want them, because I'm afraid of them. Mm-hmm. And, but I just wanted to share that because I heard that it's rare. I heard that people take special yoga classes to have it happen. I hear people say that it's dangerous. I hear people say that they take certain drugs or mushrooms to have that happen. I don't want another one. One's enough for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. I haven't had an NDE, but I got to tell you, that was the most amazing thing. And, I guess what it meant to me more than anything else was, to me, it was like, yeah, God was saying, I absolutely forgive you. Yeah. Almost like he was waiting. So I wanted to share that with you in the audience, because this is a great platform.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And I've never heard of a spontaneous Kundalini event like you've had. I always thought that you had to do a lot of breath work and yoga to be able to achieve that. So that's pretty amazing. And it sounds like almost you had this confessional to God, and he rewarded you.
Yeah, that's what I thought this was all just God, touching me. And then when I found out it was a Kundalini experience, I was kind of disappointed. It was like, I really, preferred it was from God. But I, before watching your videos, Jeff, I watched the International Association for Near-Death Studies, IANS. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with them?
Sure.
If you go on there, there is a woman named Yvonne Cason.
I've had her as a guest.
I'm sorry?
I've had Yvonne as a guest.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yes, you have. I remember I started watching that video, but I've seen her videos so many times.
Yeah.
On the IANS video, she talks about Kundalini experience, and she will break it down and describe how you identify.
Right.
Kundalini.
Right. I should get her back and we should talk about that.
I would love to, because
I'm glad you thought about that, because that would probably be a pretty cool idea, is to have her come back on and talk about Kundalini. And I don't think she's with Ions anymore. She has her own group now. I think they're called Spiritual Awakening International or something like that.
Yeah, because it's considered an STE.
Right.
The Kundalini.
Right.
And mine almost turned into an OBE, and I wasn't having any. I think she had one, but I was not taken off. I was not going to blast off.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I've got to run to the next two people. I've got people waiting, but thanks for coming back and joining us this week. And I appreciate you.
I appreciate connecting this week. Thank you, Jeff, for your patience.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right. I'm not sure who is next. I think Allie's Galaxy S20 FE 5G is next. I hope I got the right one. If I don't have you in the right order, I apologize to you, Joy. Allie, what's going on? Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat tonight. By the way, everybody, if you've been seeing Allie in the chat, now you see her in real life. This is her.
What's good, everybody? How you doing?
What is 420? Is that your area code?
Sure, Jeff. We'll go with area code.
I don't know. I don't know the 420.
As because of my career, I'm not really going to speak on that.
Oh, okay. We'll forget about that. What is?
I think you know. I think you get it.
I get it. So what's going on? What's going on with you spiritually today, or paranormally?
Oh man, spiritually and paranormally, not much really. I just called to say hi and to give love to you guys and to put some energy into the chat, because some people might have been a little bit sleepy, it seems like. So I just wanted to say what's up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really have any stories or anything. I wish I did. I mean, we have our QHHT story that we're still going to be talking about that you guys have yet to hear.
Right.
But I don't have any specific stories. I just wanted to give you guys some love, man.
We're going to have Allie on to talk about her hypnotherapy session. And I asked her to get her hypnotherapist on, because I thought that would be really cool to have her and then have the input from the therapist. But I don't know if I don't remember exactly where we are on that. Did she decline, or she has not answered you?
So the last place we were with that is that she wasn't getting back to me, but she just recently left me a voicemail, and now she sounds like she's interested. So I'll get back to you again on it. But so like Jeff said, we're trying to get I'm already going to be on it, of course, but we're trying to get my QHHT therapist to come on as well. This way she can give her part of the story. And then, because she's been through the training with Dolores Cannon and she's gone through all that. So it would be cool to have her perspective as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be amazing, because then we get, your experience and then her input and analysis of your experience.
Yeah, I'll make sure to send her this link after it's done so that we can put some pressure on her. Yeah. Brandy.
We're hoping you're going to show up, Brandy.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, anything else you want to share?
I want to give a shout out to Mo, just because he asked me to do it. I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I want to give love to everybody, all of your loyal people. We got Zin, we got Karen, we got Yvette, we got Susie, we got Erica, we got Shira in the house, we got Rhonda, we got Kevin that came back on again. I'm probably missing so many people. Forgive me if I love you and I didn't say your name, but I'm just trying to read Jess Mack. She tried to get on last time. Maybe we can get her in now. She's not at a hotel with crappy internet. Maybe we can get her in there.
I wanted to mention something, and I just seeing you had made me think about that. Guys, I have set up a Discord, and Allie's there on Discord, and I created that, I guess, last week or something, a few days ago.
Has it only been a week, really?
Maybe, I think so. But the Discord is a place that you guys can go. It's free for everybody. You can voice chat there with each other. You can, it's like a chat room. I guess you can post stuff. There's where you can post stuff. There's like another one someone asked me to create where you can post artwork and music. And then there's a room where you can go in and all 226 of you can be there at the same time.
Yeah, you guys got to check it out. Yeah, you guys got to check it out. Please do. Jeff put the link in the community post, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
And it's basically a place where we can all get together at the same time. We can chat, like typing chat, like he said. There's also a feature where we can get in there and like voice communicate, like me and Zin Uru. Peter, I want to send you some love. We had like an hour conversation the other day. I think the first night I was on with Katie for like an hour. Shout out to Katie. So yeah, I just think it's a really cool place for everybody to get together. And we got to meet Mara. When can we meet Mara? I'm going to put that request in right now. I would love to meet the second half of
we'll
this
leave
show.
That up to her and see whenever she's ready.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to put her on pressure
delay.
because as a female, I know what it's like to be put on the spot if you're not ready. So I'm going to let her have her minute, but we would love to meet her.
All right. Well, if I'm going to run to the next person. We'll let her decide on that. But thanks for all your energy and thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I really appreciate you.
I love you guys so much. So much love to everybody. Remember, we're all one, as above, so below. Namaste.
All right. Take it easy.
Peace.
Bye-bye. All right. That was Allie. And now we've got Joy. I think this is Joy that I was speaking of earlier. Joy, who's been a guest. Joy Mitchell. It should be her. If it's not, then I guess I might be in trouble. But we'll see. Allie.
Hello?
Allie. Hello?
Hello?
I hear you. I just don't see you.
Oh, hold on.
Are you playing? There she is. Everybody, this is Joy Mitchell. Joy, I don't remember what podcast number she was, but Joy was on, gosh, what would you say, 6 months ago?
I don't remember.
She doesn't remember. What is behind you? That looks interesting.
Oh, it's like a tent that goes over my bed.
Oh, okay. At first you said a tent, and I'm like, are you out camping?
No, it's a tent that goes over my bed.
That's cool.
Don't mind all the laundry. I'm folding laundry while I listen to the podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. That's real interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like some people have those canopy beds. It's like you made your own canopy bed.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. And it has lights.
Turn them on.
And the lights, they turn on. There's a switch here. And then I like it a lot. Hold on. There's the lights.
Cool. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, lights turn on.
And you like to play Minecraft?
I play Dungeons and Dragons.
I saw something behind you that looked like Minecraft. That's why I asked that.
I play Minecraft with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to pick, I would say probably some of my favorite games would be like Dragon Age 1, 2, and 3,
Mm-hmm.
or Elder Scrolls, or Dungeons and Dragons Online, or Elder Scrolls Online, or Ark.
Now let me ask you this, because I got my son into playing Dungeons and Dragons, the board game. Is there a Dungeons
I have all of the Dungeons and Dragons board games.
Is there a Dungeons and Dragons video game that you can play?
There is. It's called Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it for PC or for Xbox, and I don't know if they have it on PlayStation, because I've never had a PlayStation. But it's free.
It's free?
I can play it, but if you want to earn like cool things, like cool armor or whatever, then you have to like pay money to play it. But it's Dungeons and Dragons Online, and they just came out with a new Dungeons and Dragons game that's like fighting and stuff. My brother bought it and is playing it and wanted me to play with him, and I was like, I'm not really into it, because it's more about fighting and less about questing and storyline. And I'm not a huge like fan of fighting. I'm more of a fan of like the questing and choose your own story adventure type thing.
All right. So, you know, I saw you for your NDE, and we talked about that a long time, whatever it was, how many months ago. anything new going on with you paranormally or spiritually that you want to share with everybody?
Well, I talked to you on Monday.
Yes.
And nothing new has happened between Monday and now.
Well, I want to mention this to everybody. As we spoke on Monday, and you have a feeling that something's going to happen, like a war or a civil war or something, and you felt like you're preparing for it. Or what
it's
is
not
it
a
then?
feeling. It's my grandpa told me. So my grandpa Bob died. I think I was 16 when he died. And I might have been 17 or 18 when I had the dream. I can't remember. It was a really long time ago because I'm 34 now. But in the dream, we were in this church, and it was a Mormon church. I recognize it now as Mormon, but back then when I was that age, I didn't know what Mormons were. I'd never been to a Mormon church, nothing like that. But in the dream, we were in this church, and like all the pews were askew, and there was garbage all over the floor, and like there was like these glass doors, and like all the glass was gone, and you could we were standing in the actual church area where like the pews are, and then like there was kind of like a little hallway, and then there was like a door there was like a door, and then you could kind of see out the door towards the hills, and all of the hills were on fire. Like everything was on fire. Like and it was nighttime. There was big fires everywhere, and my grandpa was holding up this hatch in the floor, and all these people were going down into the hatch, and I knew we were all going. Did he tell me, or did I just know? I don't know if he told me or if I just inherently knowed, but he said that or he insinuated, I don't know, but there's going to be a civil war, or be prepared for war type of thing. Like you could hear bombs going off and guns going off and stuff. And my grandpa Bob was like the kindest, most gentlest, most beautifulest person I've ever met in my whole life. He's never had a mean bone in his body. And like I was looking out at the hills that were on fire, and my grandpa turned to me, and he had like this, and I don't know if he did it because he wanted me to just remember the dream, and humans, I guess we remember really strong emotions, but he told me, be prepared, like that, like really strong, really angry, really forceful, and it scared the crap out of me. And I've had a couple of dreams of him trying to tell me how to be prepared. I remember I can't remember how many weeks ago it was, but he gave me like a list of things I was supposed to be doing to be prepared. And I should have written it down, but I can't remember it. But it was like, I think like it was like have food. But he kept telling me like war, death. Like he kept saying that over and over and over again. So I don't know.
How long ago?
I'm not the end all. I'm not like psychic or anything. I'm not the end all be all of whatever. Like there's always someone that's willing to tell you the end of the world's coming, blah blah blah. I don't know. I feel a change in the air personally. I just feel like maybe there is something scary coming.
How long ago was this dream?
I was 17, I think.
So that's a long time ago then.
So yeah, I'm about to be 35 now.
So yeah. Well, all right, Joy, I appreciate you coming and hanging with us a little while. Do you got anything else you'd like to share with everybody?
I don't know. I tend to be a slightly quiet, reserved person, so I don't know. I don't know. Does everybody have any questions for me? I don't know.
Well, there's a little bit of a delay. We'll see real quick. And once again, I had Joy on as an NDE guest. It was probably, since I do these almost every day, it's hard for me to.
It's okay.
It's hard for me to say. Was she 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago?
It was actually 10 years ago to the day. No,
10 years. There you go.
I don't know.
So I don't see any answers yet. So, all right. Well, we should probably move on to the next one. But thank you so much for stopping by. And hey, thanks for that tip earlier. I really appreciate that, Joy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
hey, have a nice night.
There's a comment here that says, Joy, you look like you are 17, not 37.
Nope. February 16th, 1987.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, did you catch that I created a Discord?
So I tried to have my friend Josh help me learn Discord and I couldn't figure it out. And then so I tried to Google Jeffmara Podcast because he said I need like a Discord invite or something like that, or like I don't know what he was saying, but I needed like a Discord something or other to add to the little bar or something, or I don't know what he was saying, but because I'm not super good with technology, I try to stay away from it as much as possible.
Okay.
Like I feel like it lowers my vibration. I know that probably sounds dumb, and I just want my vibration to be higher. But, I don't know. That's probably what we're gonna be like. What? You're so weird. So I tried to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. So I don't know if there's like I even went to your about page on your YouTube to see if I could figure if there was like some code or something there to put in.
All right, I'll post it again. I'll post it again in a community tab, and maybe your friend can come over and I'm sure if he knows Discord, it'll take him like 1 minute to sign you up.
Sure. Yeah, because like I there's like a search bar in the Discord, so I just put Jeffmara, then I put Jeffmara Podcast.
Well, I can send you what I had sent before, and actually it may be over. And I'm glad that we talked about this. Because I think my son William told me that the invitation links to Discord only last about 7 days. So I'm gonna make another community post and post that in there. So we'll get a brand new invitation link.
All right, that sounds good. And then I'll get onto that and try to figure that out too.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Joy. Right. I'm gonna run to the next person. Thanks again, and you have a great weekend.
Bye. Good night, everybody. Have an awesome night.
Bye-bye. All right. Don't report. And let's go on to Stephen. Or is it Stefan? And we'll see what's going on with him. There was a Stephen last time, but I don't think this is the same Stephen because the last
It's the same.
It is the same. He hears me. For some reason, I didn't remember. I was like, was this the same last name? I'm not sure. By the way,
last time I was on here,
I don't see you. 1 second. Let's pull you back up. There you go. You're on your way here. There you are.
The last time I was here, I was doing, John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
Yes.
John just writes, he does whatever he wants to do. I said, why not write a song about peace and love? He wanted the happiness is the warm garden. I said, all right.
You need to get the glasses like John, then you'll really fit the part.
John Lennon, I got some glasses right here, just put it on. I live in a group home and I do juggling and stuff like that. And I mentioned that I record just for my own feedback, and then I got thousands of spirit orbs. I've never seen thousands.
Wow.
Yeah, you can search world record spirit orbs caught.
Yeah.
Paranormal juggler.
Weren't you going to send me that, or did you send me that?
I put it on one of your videos. I don't remember which one, though.
Because I remember we talked about that, and I think I can't remember if I saw it or not. Please forgive me, because people send me stuff, and I get, if you don't mind, send it again. Send it to me on Facebook.
I've never seen, usually on a spirit orb video, there's a couple. This is thousands. I've never... Yeah, and it's inside. It's not outside where they get moisture and all that. There's nothing like that.
And I'm glad I thought about that, because people will leave in the chat, in the comments sometime, how do I contact me? And I usually say, You know, on Facebook, if you have Facebook, I have a Jeffmara Podcast Facebook page, and then you can just message me directly there. And or on the About page, you can click on something and it throws up my business email. So anyways, maybe you can post it there. So what's going on with you this week? Anything paranormal? Did you see any ghosts in that group home or anything?
Well, I have a spirit I have like the most active spirit ever. And I mentioned it last time. It's a woman who died by suicide. And then after about a month of having her picture as my desktop, someone started pressing on my bed, going around, just pressing on it like that. And it's gone. This has been going on for years and years and years now. And now she'll, like, if I'm just sitting talking, and she'll just be moving my head. Like, if I'm just standing here, this is what she likes to do. Like, she's moving my head. I put up a video about me dancing, and like, she gets me to move. So, if I'm just standing.
Well, let me backtrack with you. How did you find this? You just found this person's picture and put it on your desktop, and you think that
because I'm suffering, yes.
And you think that she found you because of her pictures there somehow and can communicate with you?
So yes, the way the spirit world works is when you're looking at a picture of someone, and a lot of mediums have said this, you're connecting to that person, especially if they know you.
Okay.
So, and if you're suffering, they also like to give you some comfort too. Right. So if you're going through hard times. So this was before my life was destroyed, and I had extreme anxiety, depression. It's like I have every problem that people can just dismiss and say it's nothing.
Right.
It's like, so the worst problems in the world are problems people can just say they're nothing.
Right.
So I saw a vision of me looking down so it's a friend's house, and I saw this woman, the woman that I love, laying there. Then that one went away, and then I saw me laying next to her on the couch, and I thought, well, that's a sign. This was like an open vision. This wasn't a dream. And so I went to the friend's house the next night, and she wasn't there. But the night after that, I said, well, can I lay next to you? And she said, yes. So it happened just like the vision. So they were giving me, and I've gotten a lot of signs like that because they want to encourage you. But the problem is everyone can make choices. It's like, is the future set? It's like people make choices. So they can, if you told everyone the future, they could just choose to not do that.
Right.
So that's the.
Wow. So when you had the vision, had you ever seen her before?
Oh, and this was the woman I love, but it was like this back and forth where like I didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
And I didn't have anyone in my life to really talk about. And I met this psychic lady who for the first time I could talk openly to without being condemned, because like my whole life was like, no, like being told that I'm wrong and I'm dumb. And it's like that got into me. So after my life was destroyed for years, I would literally just hit myself over the head like this as hard as I could for years and years and years. Like it took me a long time to get over this idea that I deserved bad things. So now I go, I do not deserve anything bad at all. Bad people do bad things, but I don't deserve it.
That's true. It sounds like you've gotten control of your life and you've gotten better. Would you agree?
Well, I still haven't gotten my life back. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing. So I'm still hanging. I say people who are having their lives are on a cruise ship.
Right.
I'm on the Titanic.
Right.
So if my ship is sinking, I will get worse and worse and worse until there's some help.
Right.
So that's why I'm constantly calling prayer hotlines and whatnot, just to get some more. And I'll take all the prayers that everyone can throw at me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I've got so much talent. I'd love to be able to give back too. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you listen to any of Joe Dispenza's stuff on YouTube?
I don't think so.
He has some really cool stuff, some really great stuff. I mean, there's a ton of it out there. That like a lot of this meditation stuff. I wonder if that would be helpful for you.
Well, I say I lack caring resources to generate caring or power. So I'm kind of at the whim because I live I've been in a group home for 5 years and it's not good. And I got attacked by a drunk, and then the police just show up and they charge me with assault. It's like, everything is back. Everything in my life is backwards.
Well, I wish that, and I hope that, you can get your life turned around and you can, move forward and be more successful in life and move out of there and win in life.
That's right. So there's, you're talking to that previous lady about, Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot. I've played a lot of World of Warcraft. I wrote 230 pages of this is how to make the game better. And I put it up on YouTube too. So it's up there.
Oh, cool. What is your YouTube channel?
Just my name, Stephen Cake.
Stephen Cake.
Yeah.
All right.
And I got some comedy. I got some juggling.
Do we have any more Beatles up there?
I'm working on, Beatles. I put up a Beatles joke where John Lennon's like, the fourth, Ringo's like the fourth Ghostbuster, he just bangs the drums to whatever we say, he loves this, band, he's seen some crazy, stuff.
Oh, you're great. You're great at impressions. Maybe you should do a whole comedy channel on YouTube.
I'm working at it, folks. You're going to believe it. You won't believe what we're going to do. I put some Trump up there too. I do the presidents, like, this is Obama. I like your show. I like it so much that I'm going to put Joe Biden and put a nice helmet on him and send him out the door.
That's great. That's great. All right, Stephen. Well, I got to run. I've got 2 people waiting on me, but thanks for hanging out with me again this week. And you take care of yourself, brother.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Kate has been waiting for a while, so thank you, Kate, for waiting. And let's get you in. Well, she's in by voice, it looks like. Let's see, ask to start video. And by the way, thank you guys so much for being here. All right. I think you were here earlier and we couldn't get you in. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We finally got you. Is that the same name? Were you under Kate or was it under a different name?
I think I was under just Kate.
Oh, okay. So now we got you. It sounds like you're British. Are you British?
Yeah. Your other person's still speaking.
He's not here. It's just you and me. Maybe you're hearing me. Maybe what you're doing.
Oh, I'm on YouTube. Sorry.
Yeah, you've got to mute YouTube.
That's better. Sorry.
That's okay. That's quite all right.
Now, where have you gone? Now I've lost you. I'm so sorry.
I still see you.
Okay.
We haven't lost you.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever done this.
That's okay.
In this capacity. Hang on. Sorry.
Are you in Australia or no? You're probably in Australia. Yeah, because now I realize that it's light. It's light over there, so it has to be morning.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of actually a little bit. I'm a Sydney sider, but I'm actually living up in the Central Coast at the moment, which is about an hour and 20 minutes out of Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just come on impulse. I'm really sorry. I don't have a near-death experience or anything to tell you.
It's okay. You don't have to apologize. We can talk about anything. You're halfway up the coast. You're in the Gold Coast region?
No, that's further up. This is more like, I don't know whether you know any cities on Australia's coast, but it's sort of like Sydney, and then up is Newcastle, and then you start going further up the coast and get to the Gold Coast eventually. That's a lot further up. But this is just an hour and a half out of Sydney. But I've been watching your podcast. You've had some really nice people on. I only just started watching it.
Well, thank you.
And I'm one of those people that actually doesn't have psychic, even though all my life I've been really interested in psychic phenomena. I've never been someone to go, I don't want to talk about it because people think I'm mad. I talk about it. I've got no bones. I was really struck by how many people from America get really coy about talking about these things even now. And I think because Americans are so religious, and people get very frightened because they're often in communities that won't accept them. But over here, it's a bit more agnostic, if you like. There is a lot of people very religious over here, but a lot of people that are just sort of new age spiritual as well. And there's not, still, I suppose, some fear, but not amongst the people I know. But I've got the opposite thing where I'm actually study traditional and Western astrology. So I'm dealing with the opposite side to the NDE, where everything is sort of like one and everything's happening all at once. And astrology is actually not pinning us, that's probably the word, it's sort of pinning us down to one particular, so use the words, one particular part of time. Like we get born into this part of time, and we sort of embody that time for our life on Earth. And although there is some leeway for change on another level, no. There's a level that's quite fated, and there's another level where we can use it creatively to actually change and grow and sort of challenge ourselves. But the traditional view of astrology is absolutely fascinating, very complex, and it really makes you think about why we're here and why we're born. And I just thought I'd say that.
No, it's okay. I've heard, I've never been there, but in the Vatican, there's an astrology chart or something. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all, because I think in quite a few Christian places, and in some other places, like other traditionally religious institutions, there is a lot of astrological law. And I think the Vatican also took possession of a lot of stuff, particularly when it was trying to suppress the religions and the beliefs previous to Christianity. But I have no proof of this, but I have heard that in England, for example, there's a church with a whole astrological thing on the floor. There's a bishop somewhere in England that had a whole astrological thing in his basement. So why not the Vatican? I'm not sure, though, but the Vatican has a lot of things, I believe, from that kind of, what do you call it? I mean, they have a lot of things that people might be surprised by.
Right.
And the Bible has astrological stuff in it.
Right. I had a guest on once before that we were talking, I believe, about the mysteries of the Bible. And I think we were going through a lot of astrology that's in the Bible.
Yes, that there are quite a few references. I can't bring any to mind now, except for the obvious one of the three wise men, that a lot of people believe that they were astrologers. Well, the thing is, in those days, astrology was, it's only been fairly recently that astrology hasn't been part of life.
Right. I think even in the Bible, I guess it was Moses's time, it was all about worshiping the bull or the cow, and that's a certain astrology. And then when Jesus came through, it was now about worshiping it's about the fish. So I guess that's Pisces. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, well, at the moment we're still in the age of Pisces. Like people say that it's the age of Aquarius coming, but actually that's not going to come for at least. There's a lot of argument about it, but at least another 300 years. So right now, what being in the age of Pisces means, or the age of Taurus or whatever, is that on the first day of spring, the actual spring equinox is against the constellation of Pisces.
Okay.
So if every time it's spring, the Piscean stars are there as a part of the backdrop. There's a lot of confusion about that. So spring point every 72 years is another degree back. It just sort of shifts slightly over time. That's why we do have these different ages, because I should know the maths, but I don't. But every couple of thousand years, we're in the spring point happens against the backdrop of a different constellation.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've heard before that according to astronomy, and astrology is very old. So according to astronomy, what you think your sun sign is, I guess if that's what you call it, your regular sign, like I'm a Gemini or Pisces or whatever, it's not really true, because the precession of the equinoxes happen, and it's actually one off from what you think you are. Is that true?
Oh, look, there's a lot of confusion about this, a lot of confusion. So there's one thing. If you're a Western person and a Western astrologer, on the first day of spring, you regard that as 0 degrees Aries. Nothing to do with the constellations. It's sort of like a seasonal thing. So the first month of the new year, like in terms of spring, new energy, is Aries. Then the next one's Taurus. Then the next one's Gemini, etc., all the way around the zodiac. But if you actually do the Indian type of astrology, the sidereal astrology, you look up, you see it's against in the constellation of Pisces, and you're a Pisces. So, but that's further complicated by the fact that the constellations are all different lengths. So even the Indian astrology will still do 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, so exactly equal all the way around. So, when you look at an astrology chart, there are 12 houses and they're equal lengths. So it's a bit complicated. So there's the time of the year, which is what Western and modern astrologers use in Western countries. The sidereal astrology, where you're a 30-degree part of generally approximating the constellations, which is what they use in India, with some variations. And there's the actual constellations themselves, which can also be used independently, although that's less common now. So there's the stars, there's the house systems that sort of approximate the actual stars, and there's the ones that approximate the time of the year. So if you are, and the discrepancy between them is now 24 degrees. I hope this isn't too scientific, but too mathematical. But so if you are, say, a Leo in this lifetime, and you're only, say, in 5 degrees Leo, if for an Indian astrologer, you'd be in Cancer most of the time.
Right.
So you're one back if you're doing sort of approximately, unless you're born at the very end of the sign. Right. So it's quite complicated, and there are not 13 signs, by the way. No. Scorpio and Ophiuchus are the same constellation, but they're on either side of the ecliptic or the Milky Way, or the same. So that's my rave. I hope it wasn't too much.
It's okay. Well, Kate, thanks for making it, and I'm glad you persisted and you came back on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on.
I wish you the best, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and you take care.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Keep up the good work.
Thank
okay,
you so
bye.
Much. Bye-bye.
I don't know how to leave. Oh, I press leave. Not very technical.
All right. Next up is Zachariah Holland. Zachariah, where are you, Zachariah? So once again, I'm planning on posting tomorrow a video of her name is Amy Sway. That's her English name. Anyways, she's in China. I think Shandong or something like that. China. We're going to talk about NDEs in China. We talked about UFOs in China. We talked about fortune tellers in China. I think you guys will find this interesting. I hope you like it.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Hi.
Hello, Zachariah.
Can you see me and hear me?
Yes, I can. I had you before, right? Did you come in last week?
I didn't know, but what I have done, around 3 weeks ago, Jeff, I sent you a video of me.
Oh, yes.
So maybe that's why you've seen me.
Were, yes. I think it's been actually longer than 3 weeks ago. And I tell you?
I think you could be right.
I think I told you I thought you were great on camera.
Yes, you did.
Yes. Okay. Now, what's going on with the heart on your face?
Oh, you know what? I've got like a delay. Oh, I need to turn off the YouTube, don't I?
There you go. And you turned off.
Okay, got it. Right? So, yes. So you can hear me normally now, I think, can't you? So the reason I've got a heart on my face and the reason I've got this colourful T-shirt on is I just thought it's very fitting for your show to have so much colour and a love heart on the cheek.
There you go. And now
this is the reason.
Now you were the guy that when you kind of jerk, right? When something happens to you.
I do. That's really true.
Yeah. I remember you now. It's all coming back. It's coming back to me.
Yes.
So
yeah,
what's
and here
going
I am again.
There you are. What's going on with
Yeah.
you? Paranormally, spiritually? What do you want to share with us today?
So,
and one last
you
question,
know,
real quick before you start. You are in Australia too, right?
I am. Yes, I'm in Brisbane. Can you see it?
Yeah. Did you know that? Did you see that the lady just before you was in Australia?
She is, and she's in the next city down from me, which is only 1,500 kilometers away from me, so very near.
It's so interesting that I would say, I was talking earlier that probably 40% of my guests are from Australia. And it probably, if you,
I wonder why that's happened.
I know. And if you probably put, I don't know what the population is of Australia. What is the population down there?
25.5 million.
That's it for the whole country?
It's so empty. There's nobody here.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's an empty country.
That is amazing. So that means
well,
that,
because I come from Europe.
Well, that means that probably the highest population of my guests, percentage per population is Australians.
What's going on? That's kind of spooky.
Yeah. That is. Well, are you ready?
Anyhow, so shall I tell you something interesting and paranormal?
Yes, you shall. Please.
Yes. Okay. So the most interesting thing that's happened recently to me is, I do this transcendental meditation, as a matter of fact, and I've had some incredible experiences with that. But recently, I asked, I always call them the angels of unconditional loving light, is what I always call them. I don't know why. But I called them that, and I said, please, can you just say hello to me or something? Because this is quite annoying. I keep having visions, but I'd like some kind of sign. And then, Jeff, remarkable, I saw a figure, and looked like it was angelic or in a robe, and it's all in like sepia when I see these figures, but they're so incredibly clear. And it actually waved at me. It really did. Astonishing. So it was in front of my vision, and I was like looking at it all. I can see like the outline of the robe, and it turned its hand and went like that. And I was just filled with so much joy when that happened. It was just incredible. And I'm just astonished at these spiritual things that have happened to me. I never would have believed any of these things, but it's just remarkable, really. And all the videos I watch on your channel too, it's just astounding.
After that happened to you, did you change in any way?
I mean, I'm just always changing. I just feel like the more connection I have, so to speak, with the spirit realm, the better it is for me. I've had some problems with mental health too, to do with anxiety. And it's astonishing. The best therapy for me is, for some reason, becoming spiritual. Mm-hmm. So any kind of connection with, love and kindness and listening. I have a problem listening. I'm not a particularly good listener. And the more I put effort into that direction, the better my mental health gets. So it's just astonishing.
Can you give any other tips for people who suffer with anxiety, like what they can do to help themselves?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I really can. So, the Beatles song, because that guy was talking about John Lennon doing that impression. And so it just makes me think of, I get by with a little help from my friends. And it's so true. Very often we think to ourselves, oh my goodness, how on earth am I supposed to get all of these things done? And community is so incredibly valuable. And obviously you can have community online, very, very helpful. And the community physically in your location where you are. Get to know your neighbor. Just say, oh, I noticed that you grow petunias. Tell me about those. And the people who work at your lobby, have a conversation with them. Ask them what their hobbies are even. I mean, if you can't think of anything else to say. And it's just so valuable to have a sincere connection with another person. Mm. And I just find the more sincere connections I have, the easier things get, because you start to think, I'm not the only one with problems. Practically everybody's got them. And you get all sorts of tips coming your way. And yes, so my advice is make friends.
You know, it's great that you said that, because one of the, I think it's a theme that I've gotten more than once from people who've experienced NDEs, is that during their NDE, they're so connected with everything and everyone. There's this amazing connection. And once you come back, you're separated and isolated again. And that's a difficulty for those people to come back to this separated and isolated life and feeling lonely. So without even having an NDE, you're kind of almost prescribing the right treatment, which is I've had some quite extraordinary things that have happened to me, but I've never had an NDE. And I'd love to have an out of body experience. And I'm always, go on, let me have one, but it doesn't happen. But I suppose that'll come with perfect timing. But yes, I mean, isn't this an astonishing time in history? 2021, COVID, and recently we've had Trump, and there's Brexit, and oh my goodness, it's just astonishing, all of the events. And it seems to me, Jeff, that there's some kind of global spiritual awakening happening right now. And it's just amazing. It's just, I mean, it's difficult. It's not easy, but it's just astonishing to be alive in this era. I agree. Well, Zachariah, thanks for joining me, bud. I enjoyed visiting you in real life. I hope you come back and share with us again. And even maybe next time you can tell us about the jerk thing if you want.
Sure. Yes.
We're getting comments in the chat here that they want your shirt.
Oh, well, you know, send me your address.
Viola Spencer says, I want his shirt. Someone says,
well, what I'll do is I'll cut it up into bits and I'll send each person a little piece.
There you go. All right, bud. Well, thanks again for joining me, and you take care. Have a great day.
Bye, Jeff.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers. All right, guys. I want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I go from, it was officially from 7 to 9, but I just keep going until there's no more people left. And we almost went to another extra hour. And it goes by fast for me, guys. I don't know about you, but it goes by fast on my end. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate you. I hope we see you back next Saturday. And tell your friends about it so we can get this thing growing bigger and bigger. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Although I feel probably most of you are subscribers that are here. And again, I'm going to be posting the Discord in the community tab. So a new invite if you want to check that out. And hopefully we'll be posting the new one with Mrs. Sway tomorrow. Amy Sway. All right, guys. Thanks again. And you guys take care of yourself. And I will hopefully